Hi, welcome to engVid.com. I'm Adam. In today's video, I want to help you understand native English speakers, okay? And one of the things you need to understand about the way native English speakers speak is that they like to shorten words, okay? They always like to take shortcuts. Now, I am sure that if you pay attention to your own language and to speakers of your language, this is something that most people do in their native language, okay? But when you're trying to learn a new language, sometimes it's very difficult to catch the situation or the context because certain words have been shortened and you don't know what they mean in terms of their full meaning, okay? So we're going to look at a few of these. Now, the main thing I want to point out is that it's important for you to understand these words, but don't try to use them yet, okay? Once you get into a more advanced level of English and once you're starting to get a little bit closer to fluency, then you start using these words in natural speech, okay? Now, the main thing to remember also is that these are the sorts of things you will not hear or you will not learn about in textbooks, in your ESL classes or your English classes at school. Because these are street words. This is the way people speak naturally on the street. So it's important to understand what these words mean. For example, cash. So cash, the S this is the phonetic spelling. If you know the word measure, if you know how to pronounce the word measure, this S is the same sound, cash. And what does it mean? It means casual. Okay? So like if you're talking about a party, oh, what should I dress? Oh, it's cash. Don't worry. Don't dress up. It's cash. And if you're going to, do you want to go for a dinner? Like you ask a friend, like of the opposite sex, do you want to go for dinner sometime? And she says or he says, oh, I'm not really interested. Oh, don't worry. Just cash. A cash dinner. Like nothing implied, no alternative meanings. Casual. Now, again, and this is very, very common. Cause. Depends. Some people say it cause, some people say it cause, depends how fast they're speaking. Basically means because. Why didn't you come? Oh, because I was tired. Because I was. If you hear because I was, this is what it sounds like. Because I was. And you're sitting there going, because I was. Is that English? What does that mean? I don't know. And you're getting very confused. Because I was. And you have to break it up and understand that cause is just a shortened form of because. Now, it's gotten to the point, these words are so commonly used that when somebody says because, they want to emphasize something. They want to point out the reason. So you have to pay attention. Why didn't you come? Oh, because I was tired. Why didn't you come? Because I was tired. So I want you to understand this is the reason. Don't ask me again, etc. Okay, so because I was. Comfy. Now, some English learners have enough of a hard time with this word, comfortable. But if you're not too comfortable with the word comfortable, just say comfy. Okay? How's the chair? Oh, it's very comfy. How's the atmosphere? Oh, it's a very comfy atmosphere. Your house is very comfy, okay? Very comfy, very comfortable, etc. Very commonly used word. How's the food? Oh, it's delish. Now, when you say delish, it basically means delicious. Oh, that restaurant was so delish, right? So we use it as again, it's a little bit of slang, but it's a little bit of emphasize how delicious something was. It's so delicious that we're playful with it, right? So delish. Sometimes you'll hear it was delish. Almost like two different words, delish. And you throw it away on the lish to give it a little bit more emphasis. Congrats. Oh, I just passed my test. Oh, congrats. And sometimes I say that to students and they look at me like, what? Congratulations. But congratulations, that's a very long word, too many syllables. So I just want to shorten it to two syllables. Congrats. Good job. Good for you. Okay? Legit. Legit is short for legitimate. So when you say something or someone is legit, it means true or trustworthy, right? So did you hear the news about the president? Yeah, I'm not sure if it's very legit. I'm not sure if it's true. I'm not sure if I can believe it or trust it. And if you talk about a person, have you met Bill? Like, I'm not sure about him. Oh, don't worry, he's legit. Means he's true. He is what he says he is. You can trust his word. He's not trying to lie to you or to con you, etc. And if something now, in a bit more slang way, legit means just very good. Okay, that music is legit, or that band is legit. Means they're the real thing, they're really good. Faves means favorite. Notice I'm Canadian, so I use the you. If you're American, you don't use the you. Faves, so those are like, what did you think of that band? Oh, they're one of my faves, right? One of my faves, one of my faves, one of my favorites, just shortened. And now you're asking yourself, well, why do people shorten all these words? Just because they're easier to say and they flow much more nicely in spoken English. Don't use any of these in written English. Way too casual in any situation. Now, if you're texting with your friend, by all means. Otherwise, write out the full word. Let's look at a few words. This one you've probably heard, you may have even used. Max means maximum. So the room holds 10 people max, or the class size is 12 max. Means maximum, not more than whatever the number is. Meds means medications. Now, you'll often hear this in the context of a joke or even an insult about somebody. What's up with Bill? I think maybe he's off his meds. So some people who are a little bit bipolar or have too much, or too hyper or too depressed, they take medications to help them with their condition. So if you say someone is off their meds, you're saying there's something a little bit wrong with them because they didn't take their medicine to fix whatever the problem is. So meds, medications, and it could also be in a good context. I need to go to the pharmacy, I need to pick up my meds, right? It's just short for medications because, again, too long, short. Sec means second, as in time. And we often say just a sec. Okay, can you give me a hand? Yeah, just a sec. Means just a sec means wait 1 second. It's not, obviously 1 second is one, done. It just means wait a short time and I will come and help you, right? Just a minute, just a sec. Minute, we don't reduce. Second, we do. Just a sec, okay? Slow-mo, slow motion. So again, this is especially if you're watching sports and you missed the goal and you want to see how the goal was scored, don't worry, they're going to show it in slow-mo anyway. Or if you're watching, there used to be a TV show called Baywatch, and you had all these guys and girls running on the beach in their bikinis and swim trunks, and all the scenes were in slow-mo, just to show off all their bodies. It was kind of silly, but funny. Anyway, slow-mo, slow motion. Dunno. What time is it? Dunno. Dunno? What is dunno? Never heard this word. I don't know. Don't know, squeeze. The same as want to, wanna, going to, gonna. Don't know, dunno. So we like to squeeze things together, sometimes more than one word, squeezed into one. But again, don't know, because you have the N sound here and you have the N sound, anyways you would drop the T to connect the two words, don't know. The T is gone. So don't know, dunno. Just said, spoken quickly, sounds like one word for two. For real. Okay, this basically means for real. And it's usually said in the context of like, wow, that's something unbelievable. So Jim just got fired. For real? For real? Like, for real? Are you telling me the truth? Really? But for real is a bit more slang, a little bit more for younger people, the way they speak. Instead of saying really, they'll say for real. For real, and they'll squeeze the words. And again, you have the R and the R, for real, squeezed quickly. And this one, I'm sure everybody by now, if you've watched American television or movies, what's up? Okay, now it used to be a very common expression, sup, sup, but now it's still pretty much used. It means what's up. What's up means what's going on, how are you, what are you doing, etc. What's up? What do you need? What's up? What's up? But now it's even the what is shortened. What's up? When it's spoken naturally and quickly, that's what it sounds like. Sup. With a very slight W sound. Okay? So, but again, all of these things are used in everyday conversation. And for people who are learning English, understanding what these words mean in their context, because they're so short and spoken so quickly, it's very hard to understand what they are and expand on them. So you need to start making yourself a list. You should have a notebook. And when you're watching American shows, if you hear something and you really don't know what that word is or what the expression is, just listen to it a few times, take the sound and type the sound in a search box on the internet, and eventually you will find the actual meaning, okay? You can also go to a very good place to look is the Urban Dictionary. And if you find these words, or if you have the transcript and you see any of these words, just go there and they'll explain to you what it means and how it's used in everyday conversation. This is a very good resource if you want real, everyday spoken English, okay? Now, if you have any questions about any of these words, please go to engVid.com and you can ask me in the forum there. There's also a quiz where you can test your understanding of these words, and you can take the quiz and do that. And if you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and come back for more useful real English tips. See you soon.